Bible. God knew that there would be a time when man gathered together the scripture and put it together for us to use so that we would have it for today. And then there's no more need because, you know what, the early church, Corinth, didn't have this. They had the Torah, the Old Testament, and they had Paul. Can you imagine a modern American church having just the Old Testament and Paul? I mean, people would be like, well, what do we do now? I mean, where's Matthew, Mark, and Luke? What about John? You know, there's no Acts. I mean, that tells us how the church is supposed to operate. You know, church was supposed, that's the mission of the church. What about Romans? Where are we going to find out how to live the Christian life like we're supposed to? Where's the instruction? And Paul's, I'm with you 18 and a half months in one place, and he moves on to another church. And they had to write notes, and for 18 months they wrote notes, took things, and that's all they had. And when he's gone, okay, so what do you think this Jesus character meant by this statement that Paul told us? Things were a little difficult. So when they had problems like this, Paul was led of the Spirit to answer, and he gave this. He said, listen, church, he says, rather than worry about spiritual gifts, rather than worry about all these other things, he said, can I get you to focus on something? And he says, let's focus on the issue of love. Let's focus on the issue of love. Now, we don't talk about spiritual gifts that much. Again, Baptists tend to shy away from those things, and maybe not always appropriately so. But the real issue, he says, is the fact that it doesn't matter if you prophesy, it doesn't matter if you speak in tongues, it doesn't matter if you do all this. He says, because if there's not love involved, then it's worthless. It's meaningless. It's without purpose. It's without reason for being. He says in verse 1, though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels and have not charity, I am become as a sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. I'm just a noise. And though I have the gift of prophecy, talking about things to come with assurance from divine revelation, and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so I can remove mountains and have not charity, I am nothing. Now, you say, well, what's our application in this life? Because we really don't talk about the gift of knowledge or the gift of faith, as it mentioned there in chapter 12, or the gift of tongues, or the gift of miracles, or the gift of prophecy, or the gift of these things. We don't really talk about those things. We don't really think about those things very much. So what purpose does this chapter have in the life of the regular Baptist American church-going individual? What purpose does it have? Oh, every purpose. Every purpose. See, because I think that you could take the phrase spiritual gifts and put in their talents and abilities. I think that you could take the phrase spiritual gifts and put in volunteering and duties. I think that you could take the phrase of spiritual gifts in there and put the things that you do for the church or for the Lord in here. And say, and though I have the gift of cleaning the bathroom and understanding all the writings on the Sunday school board, and though I have all knowledge about the Sunday school lesson, and though I have all faith so that I could remove mountains and have not charity, I am nothing. Hey, though I know how to change diapers in the nursery, and though I know how to mow the grass, and though I know how to sweep the floor, and though I know how to greet people at the door, and though I know how to work the PA booth, and though I know how to work all these things, and I have not charity, it is nothing. Though I know how to pass out a tract, though I know how to knock on a door, though I know how to do all these things, if I do it without charity, agape, deep, abiding love, it is nothing. Can I tell you the reason why people